Well, what I'm really looking forward to doing here is I've got Julie with me and I've got Michelle with me, and we've come away from the organised mayhem downstairs and the studios and various things, and I just want to talk and have a chat with Julie and Michelle, not so much about what their advice would be to other business owners and things, but just how they feel about their businesses. One of the things that is really important, we think, in terms of recognising micro business owners is recognising what we're like as individuals, what actually keeps us going, what makes us, I don't know, when you do have bad days, you've always got to look positive, but you know, how do you get over those? Because when Tina and I started Enterprise Rockers, which led into Microbiz Matters Day, it was all about, because we decided after 15, 20 years of appearing on stages and various things, that actually you needed something a lot simpler than like these motivational talks and all this kind of thing. It was all about how could we keep each other going. You know, I've been running my business for 30 years. You know, I've always said that I never have earned as much money as I did when I was a managing director of an American subsidiary company, because I'm totally honest, you know, people think I'm a great success, but I'm not in terms of money and things, but I feel very successful because I've run my own business with partners for 30 years. So I'm just really going to ask you 2 questions about your story, if that's okay. So I'll start with Julia. Because I know that your business is like combining passions really in various things. Did the business happen by accident, or tell me about how you suddenly thought, well, that's how I want to spend my time doing that?
The business came out of necessity because my first business, which I still run, started in 2001, which is an IT training consultancy business. I started that business because every job before that I'd been sacked from, and the writing was on the wall with this one, and I just didn't like the way and the ethos that this company was actually working. I thought, you know, I want to go and work somewhere else. And when I was being interviewed for the same position but in lower companies, they were like, well, how much do you want? I want this amount of money. You're not worth it. And I thought, you know what, I'm coming from a better company to you and you're saying I'm not worth it. I'll go and do this myself. So I set up that first business, and when I set that up, there were 3 things that I wanted from that I would only work 10 days a month, that I wanted to be the best in the industry, and I wanted to give something back. And so I won a number of national awards for IT training. I started volunteering for the Prince's Trust and for other organisations, and I'm still a mentor, and I still sit on their funding panel for that. And then 4 years ago I went into hospital for an operation, and I developed clots on my lungs, so it meant that I couldn't work. And then once I got over that, I have a garlic allergy and had a really bad reaction, so I landed up getting IBS. So it meant that I couldn't physically run my first business. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, I do have some reserves, but I need a business that doesn't physically need me to be there. And, you know, just to cheer myself up, I started making jewellery, you know, using the healing properties of gemstones, which has always been something that I've always done. And, you know, my friends said, oh, we like this, can we buy it? We like this, can we buy it? And I just thought, you know what, let's just make it a full business. And that's how jewellery came about. It came out from necessity. And as I said, I love jewellery, I love sterling silver, I love the gemstones. I have gemstones all over my house. I have a rose quartz above my front door, so every time I go in and out of the house, I'm showered with love. In my car, I have quartz and amethyst, so protection, and you know, it helps the engine running. You know, so I'm fully into the whole ethos of gemstones. So.
And are you? What can I say? Is it achieving things that your first business, the technology business, didn't achieve for you?
It's in a different thing. It's weird because, you know, when people come out, realise I have 2 businesses, one which is an IT training consultancy, which is very logical, very methodical, and then I say I make jewellery, which is very creative. they can't marry the two together. But I think it has different facets of my life and different facets of myself, because the first thing I did when I created jewellery is I created a database to store all the information. So when I buy the gemstones, buy all the raw materials, I can actually cost it out. So when I make the product, I know how much it's cost me, and then when I sell it, I know my markup and everything else. So there's still the logical side. But what tends to happen is that when I'm really, really tired, about 11 o'clock at night, that's when the creative side comes out, and I just let my creativity kind of flow, and invariably I'll work from like 11 maybe till 4 o'clock in the morning, where I just get all this creative ideas and I start making the jewellery in pieces. I've never done an informal design course or anything like that, so it's all off my own heart, it's all come from me personally. So they do different things, and they satisfy me in different ways, but I think it's just because there's I'm a walking contradiction. But
it almost sounds to me as though the customers have come because of your kind of belief kind of thing. Didn't I read somewhere that you actually originally wanted just to be online, and then you did something in the market, and then you realised what could... So, I mean, I suppose what I'm getting to you, is it almost people having a positive reaction to what you're doing, because you threw in I want to be the best at what I do, so is what's driving you on almost like the fact that you're getting a positive reaction for something you're caring about and really into?
I think what's happening now is that there's a whole movement that people are getting a little bit sick and tired of the high street and being the same. People want something that's individual, that means something that has ethics, that has morality, that has authenticity. And when I do my designs, it's a case of there's a reason why I would put certain gemstones together. So for example, the piece that I'm wearing today, these have all the gemstones of the chakras. So it allows you to align all your chakras. So when I'm selling, there's that whole story behind it, or it'll be a case of that I say, well, you've chose that gemstone, what's your birthstone, or your birth, and invariably it's the same kind of thing, and they've done it intrinsically. So I think there's that whole movement of customers that are just looking for something different, something more spiritual, something that has more organic. Personal. Absolutely. And all my designs are one-off, and I deliberately make sure that I don't make the same thing twice. I might use the same stones, I might change the orientation of them, or the configuration of it. But yes, it was meant to be an online business, but the website took a little bit longer than I thought. And I thought, you know what, my first business, I invested £2,500 into the second business, and I needed to start, clawing some of that money back. And I just thought, okay, then let's start with getting the name out there. Let's start with getting the products out there, so that when the website's there, they can go to the website and buy it once they've actually seen it and touched it and felt it.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. I want to just turn to Michelle for a while, and your story doesn't start at question time.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't start there at all.
Even though I'm more known for the question time thing.
Well,
what's happened
and quite
before?
rightly, as you know, I was like, it was absolutely fantastic, and what he did was really influential. But it also did, I think, we're not on broadcast television or anything, but I mean, it did also saddened me really as well.
The human cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, it was like, well, I did want to go back before that. So, before question time, I just want to talk about, we got 4 children to bring up. You found yourself in a situation where you, as Tim and I'd call it, you've got to make ends meet somehow. And so what made you even start this kind of business?
Well, it's not a nice story. It is unfortunately a very, bad story. I went from being fully employed. I'd worked for the same company for 9 years, loved the job, loved the position. I'd started off as just a normal bod on the phone, worked my way up to management, then decided due to having my 4th child I'd take a step back down. And then all of a sudden I had to make the decision to leave, because I couldn't stay with the changing of personal circumstances. There was no childcare provisions for evenings and working and weekends, which I was contracted for. So I had to give up my job. This is back in 2011, so this is back at the height of the worst of the recession period. I couldn't find another job. I looked in all sorts of different areas, and it wasn't just what I knew. I wasn't just looking at call centre work. I was looking into retail. I was looking into going into PA-ing or secretary or anything I could find, and there was just nothing.
What was your job when
when I was at basically I was telecommunications.
Okay.
That's the best term for it, really. Yeah. So basically I had to walk into the job centre for the first time in my adult life. I'd worked since I was 16, and
Charlie Mullins would blow up job centres, you know.
Yes, yeah,
Two of my family would blow up job centres as well.
I walked in there, and I'd spent all of my savings, everything I had, where I'd been searching, still trying to find something and couldn't. And I walked in there and I said, "Help! I've been out of work for a few weeks now. I've tried. I can't find anything. I'm running out of money. My rent's going to need paying soon." And they said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I've never used benefits in my life. I don't understand what I'd be entitled to, what help I can get." And first off, the lady behind the desk, she just looked at me weirdly and she goes, "And you're a single mum of 4 kids?" And I went, "Yeah. Have you never heard of single mum of 4 kids working then?" And she went, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." And I said, "But you obviously do. You can't tar us all with the same brush," which is what she was trying to do. So I went on to the benefit system, and I can't thank them enough. I mean, obviously they kept the roof over my head, they kept the food in my belly and my children's belly, but it was a real struggle. Going from, you know, your financial independence when you are a PAYE and you got good money coming in, which I did. I had very good money coming in, and we had, I mean, maybe not frivolous. What's the word? Not frivolative lifestyle, but we lived comfortably. Exactly. And it disappeared. It changed. Within 6 months, I found out I had bipolar due to post-traumatic stress disorder and a nervous breakdown. So life got very difficult on that side of things because my health suffered badly, but also on the financial side, I was on the verge of bankruptcy. And I thought, I can't have this happen. I'm at rock bottom now. I need to pick up, start again, and I've got to do something, not just for me, but for my children, because they've seen me being a strong, independent mum all their lives, and all of a sudden I'm becoming such a polar opposite of who I was. So someone mentioned to me about, why don't you look into apprenticeship schemes, because that you can have running coinciding with obviously where you're on benefits, they can help put you forward, because a lot of things you have to pay for, and being on benefits you can't pay for a course. So I thought, okay, well, what was out there? And a friend of mine, she's a nail technician, she goes, "Well, why don't you just do nails, even if you only do it temporarily, something to get you going." She goes, "Because it will help you mentally as much as anything else to get into it." So I went, okay, give it a go. I went into the training. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was. But I went into the training school who I did it through, and day one I produced what they said were salon quality nails on my very first ever set. I'd had no training, no experience, nothing. It's just obviously where I've had nails done over the years myself personally, where you see it being done, I must have taken in the knowledge without realising it. And from then it just continued and it just grew, and I found that because I have a little bit of an artistic temperament, it flew into the nails as well, and I was doing nail art people hadn't seen in the area before, things that no one realised could be done. And within 6 months of starting my training course, I was having inundated with requests from people, use me as a guinea pig, use me as a guinea pig, because I'd started with a couple of friends and family to practice on. Other people had seen what I'd done and they're like, "Where do you get your nails done? I want to go there." And the next thing I knew, I was in the job centre saying, "I want to sign off with benefits, I want to start my business, I'm not yet qualified," which obviously I will be making sure all the clients know that. And I went for it, and it was a scary step, obviously with mental health.
Did you get much help?
Most I got was, "This is the form to sign off with benefits. This is the best person to go and speak to if you do want an accountant, but it costs you money. Off you go."
No, you didn't get any help at all.
There was nothing. No, there was nothing. It's very difficult because I don't know if there's some people that they feel should know. If you've been in work before, they sort of assume you should know everything. Because I'm not maybe your atypical, single mum that has been on benefits for a long period of time. Well, when you say long period, it was 18 months, exactly 18 months to the day that I signed on to benefits and to the day I signed off of benefits, 18 months out of a 16-year year.
When you think that 1 in 7 of the adult workforce in the UK are running their own business, it must be the career that has got, is greater than any other career of people earning money, and we've got the lousiest support and help, really, because the next stage should have been to say, we will help you.
Yeah,
that you can actually, earn your living in this kind of life. Because that was a bold step for you, saying, I think I've got something that is quite good, I'm going to do it. You'd have thought that an investment in you would have been great, really.
I think the problem is that within the job centre, their employees, they don't know what it is to run a business. No,
they're just employees themselves.
And it's like in universities where they're doing business courses. Again, they're employees, but they've never run a business. The theory of running a business is completely different to the
actual practicality. I've learned that the hard way. So I really have.
So you've signed off now, right?
So signed off with benefits. So quite literally.
How did you go about getting your first customers?
My first customers were friends and family. Again, they were the first to come in, and then from there was more people suddenly contacting me going, I saw, say, Kelly's Nails. I heard you've only just started, but can you get me in? And it just spread. It was like wildfire. The first few weeks of running, I worked 10, 12-hour days every day because there were so many people that suddenly had caught on to, look what she can do. I've never seen this before. And from there it's built upon. I mean, I started with basically what you would atypically think of as a home business. It was just literally a table with a kitchen, one of my kitchen dining chairs, and I started with the most minimal amount of products, and that's how it began. And over time I just threw everything that I ever earned back into it. It only in the last month or two have I actually ever paid myself. I've been doing this basically as a voluntary, which, it's a lot to, do 60 hours work and not get paid for it. But it's mine. I love it. And I've made it what she is today.
That's interesting. I mean, like both of you, because you said earlier that you had to create a business that would fit with the circumstances. That you certainly had to do that would actually fit with your circumstances. So, I suppose I hate categorisation, stereotyping various things. People say, these are kind of like necessity self-employed people and various things, but we know that you can't do things out of just necessity. You've both talked about, your eyes light up when you're talking about the things that you like doing. So you've got to find something that keeps you motivated. In your terms, how long are we talking about from starting up to today? How long are we talking?
2.5 years.
So in that 2.5 years, Michelle, how many times did you actually think about giving up the business?
6, 7
6
times?
or 7 times.
6 or 7 times.
And what made you not?
Faith.
Those 6 or 7 times.
Faith. Just faith in myself, in the business, that I can do this. Just self-belief. Just keep going, keep trying. It was a sentence I used to say to myself when I was at my worst in life, when I was the most poorliest. I used to say, God never gives you more than you can handle. Whether at the time you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. If you just keep saying that sentence, God will never give you more than you can handle. And actually, when you've got out and past that situation, you look back and you go, yeah, actually, that was nothing. That was so easy. That was a breeze. And then something else will come along, and you just keep repeating that sentence to yourself again. And then you find yourself, you're on the other side of it again. It's just having that faith and belief, and you just got to keep trying. Because when you give up, I think that's when it gets you. It's when you give up and stop believing.
Yeah.
Whereas all the time you just keep trying. No matter how painful, no matter how much you struggle, sometimes in life, life from the beginning, it is a struggle and it is pain, and you just got to keep going.
Brilliant. I mean, one of the things that we've created, we've launched it now a week or so ago because of the flooding. Is this
Yeah.
thing you've heard about that hit the rocks fund?
Yes.
And the reason we did that was because of lots of our circumstances. I mean, there's loads and loads of people where one serious incident, it could be serious health issue that just comes about, and however hard we've been working, I mean, this is why we're saying it's for business owners in crisis kind of thing. However hard we're working, it's that word fate. Something has come along to knock the stuffing out. There's a number of people that's in there have been said, it's a double whammy. My house is flooded and I've lost my business at the same time. And they've just lost everything in that water. And so, we wanted to create this fund. £500 doesn't sound a lot, but if we get that £500 to them immediately, without any message, it can just give them another month or something to sort things out. Have there been people? Is this all self-driven in both of you, in terms of what you had, or would you say that there are other people that have? I'll help keep you going, kind of thing. Because I mean, I've had my incredibly low moments as well. I mean, we once we had about 12, 15 staff, and we had to make them all redundant for various reasons, and that's absolutely sickening. I mean, really, you never get over it. My business partner Claire, who's been my business partner for the full 30 years, and I've almost been totally scared. I know it sounds a ridiculous reaction, but we've been totally scared to take on employees
because you don't want to have to do that again.
We would never want to go through that kind of thing again. But have you had people that have helped, or would you say to somebody that it was? It can never be our similar circumstances, but we can actually be in a reasonably tough spot, if you like, which you've both been in, either health or because of. Are there people that you can go to that have helped you through things, or would you say to somebody, look, frankly, it's probably you that's got to do it. You've got to find something that you're passionate about, or something that will keep you going.
Yeah, I mean, in my instance, I have no real family. Growing up, I was in and out of children's homes, so I've always been somebody that thought, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it for me. So that's always been my starting point. And if I'm going to do it, it's all or nothing. There's no messing about, And again, it's a self-belief. I might not get it right the first time, but I know I can do it. That said, I have 5 really, 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 really good friends that if I pick up the phone and say, I'm in the proverbial smelly stuff, I know they will jump in the car, they will do whatever they need to do, but it's a case of that I always feel that I can do it. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next year, but
just
I
keep
can
pushing and you'll
absolutely
get there.
I always like to use the analogy that life I'll either win or I'll learn. And and I like to learn from my mistakes. I prefer to learn from somebody else's mistakes, but I will learn, and even if something doesn't go the way that I expect it to go, I'll go back and say, well, why didn't it work? How can I improve that? How can I get it right the next time? So I know within me, it's possible. And I do have that, I do have that back. I remember one of my best friends turned around to me and said that, that if Julia lost everything tomorrow, and she said that she needs to stay with me for 2-3 years, I say, yeah, come down and stay and everything, and it really upset me, and I was like, I never realised how good my friends are. I mean, we don't speak every day, we don't speak every month.
Don't need to.
We don't need, we might speak maybe once every 6 months, and we'll speak for like 3 hours, and
because you'll just pick up where you left off
absolutely,
last.
Yeah, because we're so busy, we understand, we're not needy, we're not clingy kind of like friends. And I turned around and said, that's really great, but shouldn't you actually ask me what I was doing in the first place? Lose everything before, But as I said, it's a case of, because of my background and because, I'm now an orphan, for me, I'm just like, well, you've got your problems, why do I need to add my problems to yours? So for me, it's more a case of, do it off your own back. But I know that if worst case scenario was there, that there are people that you know,
would pick you up if
absolutely.
you need be.
Yeah, you know, and it's a case of, it's weird because, you know, when you was talking about being a success, and we had this whole conversation, oh, you're successful, and I was like, well, I'm a little bit eccentric, you know, I don't drive a new car, I don't have the best house in the street and everything, but you're saying I'm successful. So yeah, but everything that you say you want to do, you achieve. That's where your success is, and that's where the confidence kind of like comes from. And you know, it's a case of, I don't keep up with the Joneses. I don't even know who the Joneses are. I don't particularly care. But you know, for me, it's all about living my life as authentic as possible and giving back where I possibly can. Yeah. You know, that's the most important thing to me.
Correct. Okay. What about you? Did you find friends that actually kept you going at difficult times?
I've actually, from when you think about back when I first started, I've got some ladies with me now who only found me because they saw someone else with a set of my nails on. Yeah. And would have never met them probably in any walks of life before, who now 2.5 years later are some of my best friends, and they've watched me progress from someone. Because when I first started, I still had my anxiety, I still had panic attacks, I still, with my, unfortunately, bipolar, which it will never go, I have it under control. So when I would have my pendulum swinging from the hypermanic happy to the ultra low worst depression you can ever get, they were there beside me the whole way through it. If I was sat there and I'm doing their nails and I'd just suddenly out of nowhere have a mad moment, they'd be like, just stop. Take 2 minutes, let's have a cup of tea, let's have a cigarette, and then we'll go back into it. And, you know, everyone that comes through my door, I give them as much as they give me. I have found not only has my business counselled me back to a healthy mental well-being and a healthy physical well-being, I've helped them as well. Because where I've had, you know, maybe I've gone through certain things that they might be leading down if they carry on those walks, where I can, through my experience, just say, well, if you just try a little something this way, you can then avoid that. So I've had a lot of people come to me if they've suffered from mental health, or they have friends that have, they come to me not only for their nails but for advice as well, because I can help them in those areas. One of my customers, only in the last few months, has actually left me. She bought one of my old nail tables off of me, and now she's starting her own business, and she's getting off of benefits, which actually she's been on most of her life. As an adult, she's been on benefits. And if I can just inspire, if I can just inspire and help move that one person,
that's fantastic.
I'm already winning.
Fantastic, right. Well, last little thing I just want to probe a little bit, and then we stop. Just quickly, do you make these lovely things? You make them at home?
I make them at home. As I said, it's a case of normally.
So that was my question really, because obviously you're working from home and you've invested a lot of money, haven't you, really, into making that really super. And I'm sure you have as well, to make sure that you're doing tip-top work, if you like, in everything you do, and that's great. These people that say that, you know, it's sort of like derogatory about people that work from home, they call them lifestylers and not serious businesses and things like that. You get in the press all the time, you know, so, and various things. What would you say to them about your business and combining that with your bringing up the 4 kids and, you know, all the things you want to do and handling it? You know, what would you say to people that are saying, in a fairly derogatory way, I think, you know, well, they're just lifestylers, they're not serious businesses? What would you say to them?
I'd say you're short-sighted. A business is not dictated where it's run from. A business is you actually creating a service or product that somebody's willing to pay for. Where you base it has nothing to do with it.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. You know, you can go to some really shiny offices in the best, you know, postcodes in London and get a really rubbish service, or you can deal with somebody who runs the business from home, who comes to you and gives you a quality service at a quarter of the price, not because they are cheap, because they are not as good, it's because they don't need to charge the overhead.
It's always the quality over the quantity.
I'm always about the quality, baby.
Yeah.
It's all about the quality.
That's a wrap. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.